about a nation now, Greece, that is actually coming close to this. And nobody expected that even a couple of months ago. What I mean is that they are, they're coming to the point where they're discussing not to pay any retirements, not to pay any salaries to the government, the employees of the government, and so forth. And unfortunately, I think this is sort of a step in this chaos that will spread, and we will all have to deal with something like that. And so that's what I see. But then by October 28, 2011, I think sort of things have the field becomes stable, that we're in resonance with, and that is, I believe, it's a stabilizing factor, and maybe even a relief, you might say. But then from that point and onwards, it's one stable field. It's not all these shifts, at least not the way it has been up until now. And then things will be probably very gradual, and things will not change in any sense overnight. But there will be a transformation in our external world over maybe forever, I don't know, but not in the way that it has been, not in the way that it's been, that you can determine changes coming based on shifts in the Mayan calendar, not in that predetermined way, but rather the field will stabilize, but our how we express it may go on forever in transforming and changing, and that I'm open to that.
Well, it sounds to me like from what you just said, you're expecting most of the changing to happen between now and October 28th. Is that kind of what I heard? And then after that, it settles down? Something like that. Most of the difficulties, I would say, is coming now. Okay. Well, in talking about one of the astonishing developments on the planet, the Dalai Lama has asked to step down, saying that the time of the leader is over. And I'm wondering if this is part of the universal co-creation concept, the concept of not having leaders, but perhaps returning to small villages and hamlets around the world, and not having this massive world leader situation happening. Do you see that coming? Yes, and you may notice that he actually made this declaration on the first day of the ninth wave, meaning that it's a seed in the sense of going from seed to mature fruit. So it's a seed? Yes, his declaration of saying that I no longer want to be a leader. It happened in that seeding period. Okay. Which is the first day. It's metaphorically. What happens in that time period are seeds that later will be developed into fruit, and I think that's exactly what is going to happen. And he's just wise enough, unusual in that sense, that he's wise enough to take the stand at an early point, and later it will continue in that direction. But as we've seen after these relatively smooth revolutions going on in North Africa, now there is much more resistance. It's not just flowing on, and I'm sure there will be much resistance also in the time ahead. But that's the direction I'm going, I think. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, hi Carl. I have a question to ask on behalf of forum member Jim D. I believe you are correct in saying that we are all aspects of the divine coming into existence. Can you give more details of how this is happening and what we can look for to show this is what is happening to us?
I think I would then like to go back to my most recent book, The Purposeful Universe, that does demonstrate that we are created according to a divine time plan. And so, meaning that we're here for a reason. There is a purpose with our existence. And it's also this, another conclusion from there is that we are created in the image of the earth, image of the galaxy, image even of the cosmos. And to say that we are created in the image of God, it's not something I can prove, but it seems like a very small step compared to saying that we are created in the image of the cosmos. And so that I also think then that it's obvious that we are in resonance with these larger systems of the universe, meaning that our existence is in resonance with it, and that we are aspects of the evolution of the entire universe. Our evolution is not separate from the whole that of the whole universe, and it's not separate then from the purpose of the whole universe. So that means that since we are able to have this form of resonance, it means also that we have a spark from the divine. That's what I would say. I'm sort of really just changing the terminology to make it a little bit more scientific, a little bit more possible to evidence, so to speak, and really saying the same thing.
Thank you. I think that goes to what you were saying earlier about as above, so below. And aspects of the fractalness of the cosmos makes sense to me. Thank you very much, Carl. And now Lenny is going to ask you some final questions.
Carl, you state that as creation accelerates, that the frequency of change stirs things up. With this, our perception grows spiritual and sensation-based. Realities lose importance. In all of this change, you suggest that our path to transformation may be as simple as being of service to others or treating people with compassion, kindness, and respect. Is this a correct understanding?
I think there are two questions here, is it? I think I'd like you to repeat what you said.
What I said, okay. In one of your, I can't remember where I found this, but it was in probably something you wrote. As our perception is growing spiritual, with all the change going on, and we're tuning into a higher frequency, material things may not be as important as they were before, and that and we're really working towards enlightenment. We're really growing in that direction, and that the path to transformation doesn't need to be going to ashrams or fasting for our lives, but perhaps as simple as kindness to other people and respect and compassion.
Yes. Okay. Now I get that, and yes, I don't necessarily think it has to do with going to ashrams. It could do so, but it would seem unfair because it was so large proportions of humanity that wouldn't be doing that. And I think it's this transformation. It's when we talk about enlightenment, you might talk about a person that sort of has a certain radiation, a sort of, you would say, spiritual wisdom, and so forth. But it's also very much a practical path there that most people probably will be taking. And that will include the whole shift in perception of ourselves and others, seeing that we are the same in significant ways, and meaning that compassion grows and empathy grows. And it's also very much, I think that what you might say unity consciousness is something it's a word I use a lot, and you could replace it with enlightenment, but enlightenment just has this very high associations, and that most people cannot really relate to it. But if you take unity consciousness, it may turn out that is something that will be in the time ahead expressed in a very practical way, for instance, people providing new kinds of economic solutions to our society and bringing them into practice, and people doing that, they would be also really developing unity consciousness, but they might never ever hear about the wisdom of some saint in India or something like that. They're just expressing in their real own lives a new relationship to others and creation. And I think we should be aware this whole range of all kinds of people are sort of needed in this world, and there is a whole range of ways in which such a evolution of unity consciousness might be expressed in.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, Carl. I have one last question. As I was thinking about what I wanted to ask you, it came to me that there's two sayings that sum things up pretty well for me these days. The first is, may you live in interesting times. And also, be careful what you wish for. Can you share with us your thoughts on the awe-inspiring wonder of these times in which we live and the importance of having clear intentions as they pertain to future events?
Yes. Okay. Well, I think this may you live, that's sort of a wish for somebody else. May you live in interesting times. And I think it's a wish that is no longer needed, because it's just very obvious that we all are doing that. Whatever nature